Effects of negative feedback mainly on the output impedance and gain bandwidth product. In the second lecture of the effect of negative feedback, the output impedances will be considered for the voltage series, current shunt and voltage shunt feedback, along with the last one, the effect on the gain bandwidth product. The first one is the voltage series feedback. This one is the block diagram that I have presented in my earlier lecture in order to describe the input impedance for voltage series feedback. And from the output, here I am sampling the voltage, and at the input that sampled voltage is being mixed up in series. So that is why the feedback signal, which is the voltage, I have presented by a voltage source having the polarities in opposite to that of the original source. Here, as I'm going to find out the output impedance, so I have to follow the same procedure what I have followed for finding the output impedance when I was discussing the small signal model or H parameter model. So first step was replace all voltage sources by a short circuit or the current sources by an open circuit. So since source the only source present for this voltage amplifier or voltage series feedback amplifier is the voltage source, that is why I have placed a short circuit. So the next step is place a place an external voltage source across the output terminal and measure the current that was being generated due to that voltage source. So here I have placed that voltage source, external voltage source V, which is generating an output current I and which enters into this circuit from the output terminal. And then another thing you should notice over here that I have taken this load off from this circuit. So therefore, when I will take the ratio of V to I, which will give us the ROF, R0F, which represents the output impedance with feedback. Why it is with feedback? Because in these calculations I'm going to consider this VF. So since VF will appear in the expression of the output impedance, we will see. So that output impedance will be actually the output impedance with feedback. Now once I will calculate this R0F, that output impedance will be without considering the load impedance, because load impedance I have taken off from this circuit prior to the calculations of this ratio. So after calculating this R0F, we can easily calculate the output impedance by considering this RL by taking simple parallel combination of ROF with the RL. And when you look from this terminal, so that actually signifies you are including the RL, and when you are looking from this terminal, that signifies that you are not including the RL. So R not F dashed is basically the parallel combination of ROF with the RL. So let's start. First, apply KVL at the output loop. That KVL results this equation. And here, as we are interested to find out this ratio V to I, the only thing what I should replace here, that is the VI. And that VI can be replaced by applying the KVL within the output loop. If you apply KVL within this output loop, this equation will be resulted. And from here, as I'm interested to replace this VI, so here I just need to replace this II. That is, you can replace very easily by replacing this II as VI divided by RI. And finally, you can replace from this equation, you can take this VI, or you can express this equation in terms of VI, and you can replace this VI from here over here. And now the replacement shows that capital V, which is the external voltage source you have applied over here, is appearing on both sides of the equal sign, and you just need to take them, um, take common from here and divide this V by this I, and that will result this output impedance ROF. If you consider that RS is equals to 0, then the output impedance will be resulted as shown in this equation. Now this consideration that RS is equals to 0 means either you are considering the source, so voltage source is an ideal voltage source having zero source impedance, or you are counting that RS with this RI, and you have replaced this RS plus RI by some equivalent impedance, and you are considering that equivalent impedance as the RI itself. So in that case, if you consider this RS plus RI is the equivalent impedance, so here that resistance will appear as RI dashed, which is equals to RI plus RS, and that's all. But when you are considering that configuration that RS is included within that RI, then you have to follow that configuration for all other cases, even in the case of input impedance, finding the input impedance also. So however, you can see from this expression that output impedance with feedback output impedance is less than without feedback output impedance. So R naught is the without feedback output impedance, this one, and when it gets divided by this D sensitivity factor 1 plus a small v times k, that provides this with feedback output impedance. So output impedance with feedback is less than the output impedance without feedback, and that is the requirement of the voltage amplifier. We have seen in my earlier discussion that for a voltage amplifier we want the output impedance should be very less than the load impedance in order to uh, get the entire amplified voltage across the load impedance instead of being lost by a drop across its own output impedance. So in order to satisfy that condition, the output impedance must be very less than the load impedance. And look at here, by employing the negative feedback, output impedance gets decreased further, and that helps or that supports the requirement for a voltage amplifier. In addition, just notice another thing here, a small v is appearing. What was a small v? A small v was the open loop and open load voltage gain. And why it is appearing over here? Because I have taken this load off. So without this load, I am considering this output impedance. So that is why a small v is appearing. Now consider the load. So this was the finding in my last slide, ROF. Now ROF dash, which includes the load, is simply the parallel combination of this ROF with that RL. And when you replace this parallel combination, you can have this expression where I have just replaced this expression of the ROF. Now finally, from this expression, I am dividing the numerator and denominator by R naught plus RL, and the final expression will be like this. So this expression at the numerator, you can identify this is nothing but the parallel combination of R naught and RL, and at the denominator, look at here, I have clubbed this factor, and we know that RL times a small v divided by RL plus R naught is nothing but a capital V, where a capital V was the open loop open load voltage gain, and uh, a capital V was open loop closed load with load voltage gain, and a small v was open loop and open load voltage gain, because if you consider that RL tends to infinity, that AV will be equals to a small v. So basically AV will be resulted when you are considering the load, and the same thing you are having over here, but in this equation you are getting this a capital V instead of this a small v, because here I have considered the load. That is why this expression is appearing over here. By considering that RS is equals to 0, this will be resulted. Here also you can see the actual output impedance without feedback, which you may consider that R naught parallel RL, and with feedback output impedance is this one. So the with feedback output impedance is less than very less than the without feedback output impedance, because K times a capital V in general very greater than 1, and that is the condition we have considered at the beginning lecture of the negative feedback. Next is the current series feedback. In this case also, the input section is a series mixing. So you are sampling the current output current, and that sampled current is being mixed up with the input in terms of the voltage, because they are being mixed in series. But one thing you have to notice over here, the feedback voltage right now depends upon the output current. And in my earlier lecture where I was calculating the input impedance, I have shown that output current was directed through this load, so along this direction. But right now, as I am interested to find out the output impedance, so that is why I have placed an external voltage source, and that voltage source is producing a current which is directing into the circuit, and the direction of this current I is exactly opposite to the direction of the I naught what I have considered in my earlier lecture. So that is why I naught is equals to minus I equals to minus I naught we have to consider. And due to that consideration, that Vf is appearing is equals to minus k times I, whereas it was appearing as minus k I naught, k times I naught in my previous lecture, but right now it is appearing minus k times I naught because I follows this expression, this equation. So KCL at the output node at this point. By applying KCL, this equation will be resulted, and since I am interested to find out the ratio of V to I must replace this VI, and that VI we can obtain from this input loop. So by applying this KVL around this input loop, we have this expression, and from here by replacing these II to this equation, I can have this expression of the VI, and that VI I need to replace over here, and after replacing this VI, this expression will be resulted where this I exists on both sides of the equal sign, and next is take this I common from both sides and take the ratio of V to I, and that will result this expression. Here consider the similar thing, that Rs is equals to 0. That may be either you are considering the ideal voltage source, or you are including that Rs within this Ri. But always it is better to consider that if you are interested to write your output impedance in this form, so assume that Rs is not equals to 0, rather you have considered that Rs within this Ri, and you have replaced this Ri as Ri plus Rs. So in that case also Rs will not appear over here because that has been included within the expression of Ri, within the expression of Ri dash with that Ri. Now look at here what we have obtained for the current sampling. In the last case, that means for voltage series feedback, output voltage was sampled, and that is why the output impedance gets decreased in order to support the requirement of a voltage amplifier. But right now the amplifier is a transconductance amplifier. We know from my previous lecture or discussion that in this case where I'm sampling the output current and mixing it up with the input as a voltage, so basically the input signal will be a voltage type, whereas the output signal will be a current type, so that their ratio defines a transconductance. So that is why the transconductance amplifier, the symbols or the notations for the transconductance amplifier I have had to use for expressing the current series feedback. Now since here I have sampled the current instead of the voltage, and we know what is the requirement of the output impedance for a current or the transconductance amplifier or the current amplifier, that our requirement is that the entire amplified voltage, which is in this case G small m times Vi, must flow through the load impedance instead of being lost by flowing through its own output impedance, which is R0. So in order to ensure that condition, the R0 must be very greater than this RL, so that current must follow the lowest resistance path through this RL rather than this R0. And here you can see by employing the negative feedback R with feedback output impedance R0 F gets increased more than that R0, which is without feedback output impedance. And here also the negative feedback is supporting the requirement of the transconductance amplifier by increasing its output impedance. Next, the output impedance with load. So this is the finding in my last slide where G small m is appearing, and that is because you have not considered the load. Here I am going to consider the load, and consideration of load means R0 F will be resulted as ROF parallel with the RL. And now here I have replaced the expression for ROF from here and have obtained this expression. And the next step is just divide both the numerator and denominator by R0 plus RL. And this expression we can easily find that this is nothing but the parallel of R0 and RL. And look at here, at this expression represents what? This one, G capital M. What was G small m? G small m was the open loop short circuit transconductance gain. Open loop short circuit transconductance gain. But G capital M represents the open loop with load transconductance gain. Short circuit means without load. Load is shorted since the current we are interested here. G capital M represents when resistance is appearing, that means the resistance is not zero. The output load impedance is not zero. That is why it is called the open load with load transconductance gain. And after a little rearrangement, we can find like this. And this rearrangement means I have considered that RS is equals to 0. So if you considered RS separately than this RI, you should use this expression, or if you consider that RS included in this RI, so that is equivalent condition that RS is equals to 0, and that condition will result this expression over here as shown over here. Now here you can see the output impedance is also output impedance with feedback is greater than the output impedance without feedback, because the short circuit transconductance gain appeared at the numerator, and which is obviously greater than the short circuit transconductance gain when you are considering load, because the current which flows through the load obviously will be less than the current when it flows through a short circuit. So this is greater than this one, therefore this is impedance, output impedance with feedback with load output impedance is greater than the without feedback and with load output impedance, which is R not parallel RL. Current shunt feedback. For current shunt feedback, the input section, at the input section we have to make this modification, because in my previous two slides I have discussed the uh, voltage series and current series feedback. So the series combinations were there at the input section. Now the shunt combinations will appear uh, at the input section. That is why I have replaced this feedback voltage by a feedback current, where this IF is equals to minus K times I, because instead of I naught, I is appearing as the output current having opposite in direction to that current or I naught what I have considered in my earlier lecture when I was discussing the input impedance. Steps are same. First, I have to apply the KCL at the output impedance, and from here, since I am interested to find out the ratio of V to I must replace this II, and in order to get this II, I have to concentrate on this input section, where by applying KCL, this expression will be resulted, and from here II can easily be replaced by this expression II equals to VI divided by RI. Now, after replacing this II, the expression that is going to be resulted is this one. Here I exists on both sides of the equal sign. Take common I and take this ratio V to I, and this ROF will be resulted, where this A small I is included in this expression because A small I represents the open loop short circuit current gain, short circuit current gain. So that is why, since load is open and short circuit is placed across this load, so that is why it is called this A small I is appearing at the output to signify that there exists no load, rather there exists a short circuit across this load. By considering this RS tends to infinity, here I have to consider that RS tends to infinity or equals to infinity, because the source what I have considered, that is the current source, and that is why in order to find the output impedance I had to make these two terminals open, and a current source always carries uh, its source resistance across the source. So that is why RS is appearing parallel to this current source, and by considering RS is equals to infinity, you are considering ideal voltage source, but A more realistic assumption is that you have considered RS within this RI, or that means you are combining this RL in parallel with that RI, and you have named this RI as RI dashed. In that case, uh, you may consider that RS is equals to infinity. So if you combine this RS with this RI, then this expression will be resulted. And look at here, the output impedance without feedback output impedance was R0, and with feedback output impedance is R0 F. So this with feedback output impedance gets increased over the without feedback output impedance, and that is also in order to support the requirement of the uh, current amplifier, because the current amplifier has a requirement that the entire current must flow through the load impedance instead of being lost by flowing through its output impedance. So in order to satisfy, or in order to ensure that condition, the output impedance must be very very greater than the load impedance, and by employing the negative feedback we are achieving a better improvement over the original output impedance what that amplifier initially had. So negative feedback also supporting the current shunt feedback or the current amplifier also. Next one is the output impedance with load, or you are considering the load. So that is simply the parallel combination of RL with this R0 F, and the steps are similar. Here I have replaced this RL with the expression of R0 F I have replaced over here, and finally I have obtained this expression where I have divided both the numerator and denominator by this R0 plus RL, and by dividing that, this factor R0 times a small I divided by R0 plus RL, I have named it as RAA capital I, as I have used in case of the input impedance. So a small I represents the open loop short circuit current gain, whereas a capital I represents the open loop with load current gain. So that is why in this expression this a capital I is appearing along with that a small I also. And here if I consider that Rs tends to infinity, either by considering Rs or actually to infinity by considering the ideal for current source, or you have included this Rs over here with this Ri, then this expression will be resulted. And here also this R0 F is greater than this R0 parallel RL, because R0 parallel RL is the output without feedback output impedance but with load output impedance. So R0 parallel RL is open loop with load output impedance, whereas this R0 F dash uh, R0 F dash represents the with feedback with load output impedance, and this impedance is also greater than this one, because a small I, which represents the open loop short circuit current gain, much greater than the open loop with load current impedance, because when you are limiting the current to flow by and load impedance, that current gain will be obviously less than the current when you are not limiting or you are placing a short circuit, and that actually uh, for that short circuit the current gain a small I will be greater than the a capital I. Next one is the voltage shunt feedback, where the output signal gets sampled is the output voltage, and at the input side it's being mixed up in shunt, and the signal is the current. So finally the procedures are same as these such kind of amplifiers. The voltage shunt feedback amplifier is equivalent to uh, trans resistance amplifier. So here I have used that amplification factor R small m in order to represent the in order to represent it is a trans resistance type amplifier. And when you are going to derive or calculate the trans resistance amplifier, be careful with this notation, because there is every possibility so being confused with this R small m with all other R you are using, because this R small m is not the resistance, it is the amplification factor of the for this trans resistance amplifier. By applying KVL at the output loop, this expression will be resulted. From here I need to replace this II, so that can be found by applying KCL at this output at this input node, and from here I have replaced this Vi as I times Ri, and from here I am replacing this I into the first equation, and this equation will be resulted, and here I can take these two V common, and finally if I divide this V by I, and this expression will be resulted, where by considering this Rs is equals to infinity, this expression will be resulted. Now just observe, this is also voltage shunt, and previously I have discussed the current shunt, and previous to one was the voltage series and the current series. Now when the mixing was a series type, the input impedance got increased, and that I have discussed in my earlier lecture. On the other hand, when the mixing was of shunt type, the input impedance got decreased. But when I was discussing, when I am discussing the uh, output impedance for the uh, voltage sampling amplifiers, that means this one and the first one, we can see that output impedance gets decreased, and when the current was sampled, the output impedance gets increased, because when you are sampling voltage, the amplification factor, whatever it is, either that can be a voltage gain or can be a trans resistance gain. So in both the cases, our objective or our requirement is that the entire amplified voltage must appear across this RL rather than being lost by a drop across its own output impedance. So in order to ensure that condition for a voltage mixing amplifier, the output impedance gets decreased. So that is why the entire voltage will appear across this RL, and that ensures by employing the negative feedback that the output impedance gets decreased. But when you are sampling the current, either it can be a current amplifier or transconductance amplifier, and for all these two cases our expectation was that the entire amplified current should flow through the load resistance rather than being passed through its own output impedance. So in order to ensure that the output impedance gets increased and that employing negative feedback, uh, we are having the same thing, that means the output impedance gets increased when you are applying the negative feedback. So basically negative feedback helps us from all the directions or from all the ways we have. Now the output impedance with load. Just take the parallel combination, replace the expression of R naught F and divide this numerator and denominator by R naught plus RL, and club all these parameter along with this R small m and consider it is R capital M, and finally this expression will be resulted. Where here if you consider that R is equals to infinity, then the with feedback with load output impedance will be resulted as shown here. This R naught F is always with feedback without load output impedance, where this R naught is without feedback without load output impedance. This R naught F dash, this represents that with feedback with load output impedance, whereas this R naught parallel RL, this if you name it as something R naught dash, so that represents the without feedback but with load output impedance. The next one is the negative feedback, the effect of the negative feedback on the gain bandwidth product. First, let's see what is the effect of negative feedback on the bandwidth. This is the general gain expression with feedback gain expression, where AF represents the closed loop gain, A represents open loop gain, and K represents the feedback factor. Generally, this open loop gain depends upon the frequency. You can relate this A with the HFE, that is the forward current gain in small signal model, small signal low frequency model, and I have shown while I was discussing the frequency response of bipolar junction transistor that the frequency dependency of HFE was responsible for the higher cutoff frequency known as F beta. So the open loop gains for any kind of amplifiers are generally frequency dependent. Therefore, in this particular case, I'm going to consider the frequency dependency of this open loop gain and one for the lower cutoff frequency and another for the higher cutoff frequency. So although for the bipolar junction transistor I have discussed only the higher cutoff frequency, but in this case, in order to make the analysis general, I am also considering the lower cutoff frequency. Now, as we have seen, the lower cutoff frequency or the frequency response within the lower frequency region looks like a high pass filter, whereas that in the higher frequency region looks like a low pass filter. So therefore, within the lower frequency region where the lower cutoff frequency is defined, the expression of open loop gain takes a form as shown over here. That means at the denominator of this expression, that FL divided by F appears in order to mention or in order to indicate that this response is looking like a high pass filter response. Whereas on the higher frequency region where a higher cutoff frequency is defined, the frequency response almost looks like a low pass filter. That is why F by FH factor appears at the denominator. And here I just mention a note to make you understand that A naught represents the midband gain, where A naught I am representing over here, that is the midband gain, which is similar to the HFE mid if you compare with the HFE, the frequency dependency expression of the HFE or the forward current gain. So this is the midband gain I have represented by A naught. Now, since this is the open loop gain, what will be the closed loop gain? Uh, we can easily find by replacing this A in this expression, both for the higher cutoff frequency and lower cutoff frequency we can define. Now, once I have replaced this expression over here, and in order to find the with feedback lower cutoff frequency, here I am dividing this 1 plus k times A naught, both the denominator, both the numerator and denominator gets divided by this 1 plus k times A naught, both from the within the lower cutoff region and for the higher cutoff region. So this A naught divided by 1 plus k times A naught, this is the midband open loop gain when feedback is employed. Whereas on this side, since F appears at the denominator of this FL divided by F expression, so this 1 plus k times A naught gets multiplied with this A. Whereas on the other hand, at the higher cutoff region, this 1 plus k times A naught gets divided, or it divides this F. And redefining this FL divided by 1 plus k times A naught as FLF, which represents the with feedback lower cutoff frequency. Similarly, F divided by FH multiplied with 1 plus k times A naught, that is defined as FHF, which is defined as the with feedback higher cutoff frequency. And after defining all these things, look at here, the expressions are looking like similar to the previous one. That means for the lower cutoff region, FLF is appearing at the numerator of this expression, as the FL was appearing at the numerator of this expression of FL divided by F. Here also FHF is appearing at the denominator as FH was appearing in the expression of F divided by FH. So now you can see that FLF gets reduced as it is equals to the FL divided by 1 plus k times A naught, where k times A naught is very greater than 1, and this is the condition what I have assumed when I was started to discuss this negative feedback. So therefore, obviously FLF is less than FL. So in this case, the lower cutoff frequency gets reduced further by employing the negative feedback. On the other hand, the higher cutoff frequency is with feedback higher cutoff frequency is equals to without feedback higher cutoff frequency times this desensitivity factor, or this 1 plus k times A naught. So in this way, this with feedback higher cutoff frequency gets increased. So in this way also, the higher cutoff frequency with feedback falls beyond the or more than a frequency range than the without feedback higher cutoff frequency. So the bandwidth without feedback was FH minus FL. Right now FHF minus FLF. So therefore bandwidth with feedback is greater than the bandwidth without feedback. So in this way, negative feedback increases the bandwidth. Now the gain and the gain bandwidth product. So therefore, we came to know that this is the open loop gain. So open loop gain means this is the open loop mid-band gain, and this is the closed loop gain is equals to A naught F, which is equals to A naught divided by 1 plus K times A naught. So this is open loop mid-band gain, and this is closed loop mid-band gain. So bandwidth, we have seen that FH minus FL, this is open loop bandwidth, and the closed loop bandwidth we have obtained that FHF minus FLF, which is equals to this one. Now FLF is approximately equals to 0 because this factor, this 1 plus K times A naught is very greater than 1, and that makes this AFL close to 0. In general, we have seen from the frequency analysis of the bipolar junction transistor that the origin of this FL was the external capacitor, and if no FL was there, then the lower cutoff, there exists no lower cutoff frequency, and the frequency response directly starts from zero frequency. So for a direct coupled amplifier, FL is by default it is 0, whether it is feedback or without feedback. So FL is 0 for the direct coupled amplifier. Even for the differential amplifier that I will discuss after in this lecture. So in that case also we will see that the FL is also 0. So most of the times or most of the cases FL is 0. That means the without feedback lower cutoff frequency is 0. And even when you are applying some external capacitors in order, and that will define this FL, so that FL also very near to the 0 frequency, or the within the 0 hertz. So when you that FL gets divided by 1 plus K times A naught, that automatically shifts that FL towards 0. So we can consider that FL is approximately is equals to 0 due to the factor that K times A naught very greater than 1. So this is the open loop bandwidth. Finally, we can approximate the closed loop bandwidth by neglecting this FL term, and gain bandwidth product without feedback is A naught times this one. So finally, for a direct coupled amplifier, we know that FL is 0, and A times FH defines the gain bandwidth product of the direct coupled amplifier, and which is the most of the cases we are interested in. And gain bandwidth product with feedback is A naught F times FHF. So here, as FL term is neglected, because when you multiply this A naught F, this A naught divided by 1 plus K times A naught gets multiplied, and that cancels this 1 plus K times A naught associated with this FH, but it gets multiplied with the A plus K times A naught appears as the denominator of FL. So that further decreases this A naught, and you can safely assume that this part is equals to 0, which makes the gain bandwidth product with feedback is equals to A naught time FH. So from comparing these two equations, we can see that the gain bandwidth product without feedback and that without feedback are equal. So this is the proof that the gain bandwidth product always remains constant. We can conclude that although the open loop gain or the gain of the base amplifier may depend upon the frequency, but employing a negative feedback, if the open loop gain is very greater than 1, and such a greater that the K times A even remains greater than 1, then we can make this AF, that is a closed loop gain, independent of the frequency dependent open loop gain. So the overall gain becomes independent of frequency, and that is approximately becomes dependent upon the feedback network, and the feedback network which contains no frequency dependent term for when we are employing the negative feedback. Next, the input impedance increases for series mixing, we have seen in my earlier lecture, and it decreases for shunt mixing in order to support the requirement for the respective amplifiers. Similarly, the output impedance decreases for voltage sampling, and it increases for the current sampling in order to support the respective amplifiers. And the last one, the negative feedback reduces the closed loop gain, and as we know the gain bandwidth product is constant, so the reduction of the closed loop gain increases the closed loop bandwidth. So we have a wider bandwidth, but we have a lesser gain. But the lower gain actually helps us to control or to gain control over the closed loop gain.